Good morning. It's so nice to see me right here. Somebody forgot to shut off the projector. I look good. You can turn it back on. It's okay. How are you today? Hopefully, the streaming is okay. I don't know. You were listening on the way in, Leonardo. Was it okay? No, you weren't listening on the way in? Busted. Not good. Thank you very much. I like to take this opportunity to express my deepest gratitude to our staff who traveled this past week. They've been here trailing away and working very hard for this service, in preparation for this service, as the first pilgrimage group from the East Coast. So we have here Marcia and Belkis, and Lad is upstairs doing the MC, so you can stand up and just say hello to everybody. Thank you very much for your efforts. We started designing a prototype to receive members from across the country so that here they can serve, can rest, they can receive a lot of scolding from me. No, I'm just kidding. Serve, rest, and prepare to receive Masaaki Sama, Mami Oksama in the future here in our church. Hopefully soon, so I'll probably be here, if not in the near future, in an even bigger place to receive them. But it's an opportunity for us to be practicing these three pillars of salvation that we have now, right? And pray together, cook together, plant together. This past week, we planted potatoes. They're a little out of season, a little early actually for us to plant, but the buds that we received, what's it called? The potato spuds, right? Spuds, not buds. The spuds, they were really sprouting. So if we didn't put it in the ground, it wouldn't come along. So we had that opportunity. The water's finally running. We were able to water the spuds out there. And then it was interesting. Laverne, who's here today, asked me, do you think it's going to rain tomorrow? And I said, well, I hope it does, because we need to water the potatoes, and I won't have a chance to water in the morning. And sure enough, God was very, very generous and blessed us with a little bit of rain to water the soil. So it was very, very great opportunity for us to start seeing how this nature farming, this Christ farming that we're talking about, that Masaaki Sama is proposing, works, right? To really learn from God how nature is so alive, how God is so alive and nurturing us on a daily basis. It's kind of weird to look up here, but we'll get there. So anyways, as we have structured the first week, we're still analyzing the best things, how we're going to do what's best to do, but we're going to start receiving applications so that members can come and participate together with us and feel this. Some of the members here this past week, they said, I felt like I was at the sacred grounds, right? Serving several times over. And that's something that you can only experience if you're here. It's impossible for me to share over a camera that feeling, right? It's really a holy ground that we're at. Even though it hasn't been consecrated as a sacred ground, it is under Masaaki Sama's sone. It is under Masaaki Sama's blessing that we're here with his permission. So I am sure that we are being embraced and enveloped in that love of God. So I would like, and I pray that many of you have this opportunity to be able to experience this, even once, right, this year, if possible. With that, we also have a pilgrimage going to Japan in December. So we're preparing that group as well. So even if you do come here, make an extra savings so you can go to Japan. Split up your time so you can do both. You can go to Japan and you can come here. It's not one or the other. How can I do both, right? So if we put that objective, if we put that sone, I'm sure that God will prepare the material conditions, both with time and money, for us to be doing that. So it's been a while since we've been at Meishu Sama's It's not Mishama's birthday service anymore. I'm sorry. It's a Christmas service now in Japan. Maybe the first time as a Christmas service. So it'll be a great opportunity. It's the second week of December. So the pilgrimage will probably leave a few days before and come back a few days after the service. So probably tops 5 to 6 days. So I'd like to invite all of you to prepare yourselves for that pilgrimage, to receive the sacred word directly from Kyoshu-sama, directly from Masaaki-sama in Japan. It's a whole other experience. For those of you who've been there, it's a whole other world to be able to participate in that service. Literally, you're embraced and you're in heaven, and you can feel it even more intensely. So I was here sitting before the service started, and we had the music with the choir playing. And it was nice to actually have some choir members singing live here. And I was remembering that spirit of what that feels like in Japan with the choir singing out loud. So I really, really recommend that everybody prepare to go, right? Prepare yourselves to go. And it's not just having the time and money, it's about permission. To participate in the service means to have God's permission, to be called by God to do that. So we need to ask permission. Some people have no time, some people have no money, some people don't have either. And last minute, that condition shows and it's possible to go. And some people have everything to go, and the last minute, everything changes and they're not able to go. Kind of low. Hold on. I apologize, but this is a little low. That's better. Thank you. I don't know what happened here, but somebody pushed down my podium. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Some people ask, what is our church, right? How do we explain our church to people? What do we believe? What are we doing here? If you were asked and you have 10 seconds to explain what our church is, how would you explain it? Anybody? Everybody looks down. I don't know. Well, as Masaaki-sama has shared with us, right? We are the complete version of Christianity. So that's how Meishu-sama was presenting the church when he started doing expansion overseas. The complete version of Christianity. It's not something that was made up now. The complete version of Christianity. And what does that mean, right? Somebody says, you're the complete version of Christianity. What makes you more complete than me? What makes you more special than me? It's not really about special. It means that we believe in Christ 100%. We accept everything in the Bible 100%. It's not pick and choose. I like this part of the Bible. I like that part of the Bible. I'll translate this a little bit different. No, it's 100%. The resurrection of Christ, forgiveness of sins, 100%. But at the same time, we are here to fulfill what Christ came to show us. We're here to return with everyone and everything to heaven. We're here to project God's heaven on earth. And how do we do that, right? We're here to announce the second coming of Christ. See, there's a lot of Christian groups that accept Christ, and that's okay. That's you're on the right track. Nothing wrong with that, right? If it were not for Christ, we wouldn't be here, as Meishu-sama says. Our sin is so big, so heavy, that we would have been eliminated by God's light. Because God is love, as Masaaki-sama shared in one of his most recent videos, but God is also very, very severe. So to come before God, God is so pure, so strict. That light is so pure that if you put any impurity in front of that light, you're burnt away. Unless you are at the same vibrational intensity of light, poof, disappear. Is that because God hates you and is mean? No, that's because God is pure, is severe, right? So without the atoning blood of Christ flowing through us, there is no way you can withstand that severity, no matter how hard you try. It's not by human strength. Because that sin that flows in you and in me will get burned away. Along with that, you. So for that not to happen, out of God's immeasurable love, he prepared the atoning blood of Christ. That ultimate sacrifice, so that when he looks at you, he sees pureness. He doesn't see sin. So every Christian, I believe, accepts that. If you don't accept the atoning blood of Christ, you don't accept Christ, right? But then there's the next step. We have to live in the kingdom of God. We have to live in his heaven. We have to live as brothers and sisters of Christ. So how do you do that? You have to become a Messiah Christ, right? You can't do it unless you become a brother and sister of Christ. Jesus says it when he's talking to Nicodemus. And he says, unless you are born of spirit and water, you cannot see the kingdom of heaven, right? Nicodemus asks, oh, what do you mean? I have to go back into my mother's womb? Jesus goes, well, if you don't understand things of this world, how am I going to explain you things of, heaven? Not a physical birth that takes place, but it's an actual birth that takes place. And maybe someone came to reveal that to us. We're here to fulfill that. Christ has already descended within each and every one of us. But do we live like that? Or are we still waiting for the second coming of Christ to happen like everybody else? That's the biggest distinguishing factor between our faith and every other Christian belief. Everybody's waiting for Christ to descend. We are here to acknowledge that Christ has already descended, regardless if you feel it or not. It's not about feeling. In Masek Sama's recent videos, there's been a collection of videos in Portuguese. So all those of you who are watching and know Portuguese, you are being blessed beyond belief right now, because Masek Sama is speaking directly in your native tongue, Portuguese. For those who speak Japanese, they've been receiving the sacred word in Japanese forever. But now, daily, he's speaking in Portuguese and sharing this. So what does that say about the responsibility you have because you speak Portuguese? See, up to now, I believe, the Japanese members carried most of that weight, that responsibility, because they understood Japanese directly, received the sacred word directly from the Holy Seat of Kyosho. But now he's speaking in Portuguese. For us who speak English, you say, well, what about me? Well, he speaks in English too. How about all the sacred words that we've been receiving in English up to now? How are we receiving the Holy Seat of Kyosho? I think that's a question that we have to ask ourselves, right? Here in the United States, we're in a very interesting situation, I believe. We have a lot of our membership who speak Portuguese, but we have a lot of our membership who speak English and other languages. How are we, who are receiving the sacred word directly in our native language, or our second language for that, for those who speak Portuguese as a second language or English as a second language, receiving that sacred word? Do we flip through Facebook like everyone else and say, oh, that's nice. Maybe I'll share it. Maybe I don't. Oh, this is interesting fact. And go on to the next reel, to the next video? Or are we receiving the severity of that sacred word? The intensity, the responsibility of sharing that. Why do I say that? Just recently, in one of his videos, Masek Sama shares that we could walk on water. Extremely easy to walk on water. Walking on water is not the problem. Anybody here believe they can walk on water? You're crazy, right? I step on water, I'm gonna sink. But it's supposed to be easy. We should be able to walk through walls like Jesus did. Or maybe fly. But we look at that and we say it's not possible. But he's saying it's easy. The problem is not walking on water. The problem is the minute you step, he says, right, onto the water, right before you step, you think, I'm probably going to fall. I'm probably going to sink. It's not possible. That doubt, not recognizing that God is alive in you in that moment, makes it impossible for you to walk on water. And then you say, yeah, but that's, almost like someone saying that. He's just trying to inspire everybody and this and that. Was Jesus the only one that walked on water? We all know that Jesus walked on water, right? And as I shared in a previous service, was he the only one that walked on water? In the book of Matthew, chapter 14, verse 28, in the New International Version, Peter and the disciples, they're on the lake, and there's a storm, and they see this figure coming toward them. So Peter calls out, says, Jesus, if that's you, call me, right? I'll read it. He says it like this. Lord, if it's you, Peter replied, tell me to come to you on the water. So Peter was not only questioning if Jesus was there, he was questioning if Jesus was the Messiah. If you're really the Messiah, call me on the water. Because if you are the Messiah, anything's possible, right? When we talk about Messiah, we're talking about the creator of the universe, of all that is seen and unseen, as we see in the book of John, right? Through him, all things were made. The word became flesh and all things were made. Which means that water, everything's under your domain. If you tell water become ice, it becomes ice. If you tell water to evaporate, it evaporates. That's the power behind the word that made everyone and everything. So Peter gets on the boat, right? He says, hey, if it's you, call me. So what does Jesus do? Come. Very simple. Come. Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and came toward Jesus. Right there. Peter walked on water. Peter, who was questioning Jesus' essence, come. He got out of the boat, started walking on the water. But this is the cool part. This is the very interesting part. The part that he walked on water is not really cool. It's interesting, but when he saw the wind, he was afraid. And beginning to sink, he cried out, Lord, save me. He saw the wind, he saw the storm. What did he do? He let fear creep in. Fear. The word here is he was afraid. His heart opened space for fear. Lord, save me. Immediately, Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. You of little faith, he said, why did you doubt? What was allowing Peter to walk on the water for that few seconds, minutes, I don't know how long it was, I wasn't there, was faith. You of little faith, why did you doubt? So Jesus allowed Peter to see how little his faith was. Because you know what the interesting thing is after that? When they climbed into the boat, the wind died down. Then those who were in the boat worshiped him, saying, "Truly you are the Son of God." Jesus could have made the wind die down before that. It's Jesus. He allowed you to walk on water. The wind also is under his domain. As Masaksama shared in the video, we should be able to control the weather and talk to the weather like Meishu-sama and Jesus did. Why don't we do that? You of little faith. So what does that tell us about why we're here? Think about that. We're here to learn faith, to learn to have faith. The whole time that Jesus is walking through Nazareth with his apostles and they're doing all these miracles and this and that, and as I mentioned before in a different service, he points out to how their faith is what's saving. Their faith is what's curing. Their faith this, their faith that. In other words, you're coming here to learn to have faith in God. It's not something that you have. It's something that develops in you. We come into this world, and it's so ironic how much time we waste because we think that life is about material success. Very good to be materially successful. Nothing wrong with that. But for what purpose, we have to ask. Is it something that we want to last 100 years, 200 years? Or do you want eternal prosperity? We come to this world to learn to receive God's eternal life, eternal prosperity. Masaksama mentioned something very interesting, right? Because, okay, he's talking about belief, and the fact that we don't believe, we can't walk on water. So how do we do that? Okay, so I'm going to go out and start believing. Now I can walk on water. Let me test. Every day I'm going to step on a lake and see if I can walk on water. Maybe I believe now. Maybe I don't believe. Maybe I believe. I don't think that's the point. There's something bigger that we need to aim for. In the book of John chapter 21, during Pentecost, after Jesus' crucifixion, right? We're celebrating Pentecost this month. Jesus comes back from the dead. He's resurrected from the dead. And he shows up to some of the disciples. And the disciples are like, dude, Jesus is here. He's back. He's walking around, this and that. So Thomas turns and he says, well, I don't believe it. Unless I touch the nail scars and I touch his ribs, put my finger where that spear went, I don't believe it, right? They say, he's here. He's been here just as you and I are here. So the door's locked. Everything's closed. You can read it after in the detail. I'm just paraphrasing. Jesus shows up out of the blues, comes in through the wall, I guess. But you can say, oh, okay, that's Jesus' spirit, right? But then he says to Thomas, touch me. So as real as this wood that you see here, Thomas touches the scars. Oh, now I believe you're the Lord, this and that, blah, blah, blah. So Jesus says, blessed are those who have not seen and believe. He's not saying, blessed you who saw me and believe. He's saying, Thomas, you believe because you just saw me. Blessed are those who have not seen and believe. Okay, so think about it. Does Jesus now, every time Pentecost comes around, has to show up for 7 billion people to say, I exist? For you to believe? He's saying, blessed are those who have not seen and believe. I prayed, I felt, and now I believe. Is that what Jesus is teaching us? That what someone's teaching us? Even if I don't feel, even if I don't know, even if when I'm about to step and there's no certainty, I believe is the point. I prayed very hard. God showed me he exists. That's not belief. Masaksama shares, right? Why do I share this? Because there's something much bigger that we need to believe in. And that is the word Messiah. In the video, he says, the mystery of everything is in that word Messiah. Think about that. The mystery of the universe, the mystery of creation, the mystery of everything that exists is in the word Messiah. And that name Messiah exists within us. And in the video he mentions, I'm paraphrasing here, but in the video he mentions how when we think about Messiah, we're praying somewhere outside, right? But that word exists within us. So we think Jesus died, so the truth of Messiah, it's in the Bible. But the living word Messiah exists within us. But in truth, it says it exists within us here in heaven. This spot right here. This is the mystery. The name of Messiah exists within us, his words. Yeah, you can go read many books, walk many paths. I got to find out the mystery of everything. He's sharing right here. It's the word Messiah. Oh, it's too simple. Doesn't make sense. Too simple. What do you mean? It's just the name. Just the name. Everything is in that name. Everything. All of creation, the power to forgive, the power to create, the power to give life, the power to take away life is in the name Messiah. That name became flesh. That flesh, he says, that name conquered sin. The reason why when God looks at you and you don't disappear is because he sees that name Messiah in you. That is alive. When we talk about the atoning blood of Christ, there's no separation between that and the name Messiah. We separate things in human way and try to understand it. No, but he's not saying try to understand. He says accept it. Believe in it. The name that conquered the world, conquered sin, exists and shines within us. Then he says, pronounce it with respect and fear. Messiah, Messiah, Messiah. Not quite like that. Respect and fear, even to voice out that name, is sacred, holy. To have it in our thought is sacred and holy. Pronounce it with respect and fear, understanding that it is the most sacred name and the biggest gift God prepared for us. That name is what allows you to walk on the water. That name is what allows you to heal the sick. That name is what allows you to do everything Meishu Sama in Jesus did. So when we are sharing the second coming of Christ, we are also sharing the truth of the name Messiah, as Masak Sama shared. It's not just about telling the world the second coming of Christ happened. But it starts with where? Messiah. It's true. It starts with Messiah. And it starts with our belief, our acceptance of it, right? It starts and ends in Messiah. Very right. But our belief in it. So Masak Sama entrusted us here to end world hunger. Do we believe it? Or we're going to say, maybe 100 years from now. There's too many hungry people in the world. Too many people are not vegan. I have a hard time accepting that diet. Never going to happen. You'll never experience that beauty if you don't believe it. It's beautiful, but we have to receive it. We have to accept it. Why are we outside planting potatoes and seeds and everything? Did I want to become a farmer? Not really. Tell you the truth, I never really thought of myself of becoming a farmer, okay? But the question we have to ask is, are we here to please ourselves or God? Did I come to this world to please me? To please me is easy. I'll go get a regular job, live a regular life, nice and calm, don't need to bother anybody, don't need to be bothered by anybody, just enjoy. Or I can do the hard thing, learn everything that God is asking me to do. Challenge myself, right? To give myself back to God, to recognize all those barriers I have in me, all the resistance I have in me, and say, God, show me, use me. This me that's so stubborn, this me that doesn't want to do, this me that doesn't like, because I'm here to please you. Why? Out of gratitude. Not because God is telling me to do it. Because if it were up to me, without the word Messiah, without the forgiveness of God, I wouldn't exist. Out of God's grace and love, he said, hey, I love you so much. Even though you're like this, I want you to serve me. I want you to return to me. I want you to receive that heaven that I prepared for you. So why not surrender your life to that? Everybody wants to be happy, right? There's two ways to do it. The way we've been doing it and nobody's happy, or there's God's way to do it. And it all starts with that word Messiah, with believing, accepting it, voicing it out, as Masek Sama shared in his video. And then I guarantee you, your life will transform. Because that's how God prepared us to be, to live. It's like a seed, right? Plant it, water it, let the sun do its thing, let the earth do its thing. It will sprout. You don't have to go in and change the seed. You just have to let it happen. Let it happen in you. Open your heart. Receive that truth. Receive that holy word, Messiah. And surrender ourselves to God to fulfill that will. With that, this place will prosper. A lot of people will be fed. A lot of people will return to heaven. A lot of people will know the name Messiah, but we have to work our best, as we saw in the opening prayer today. We have to give our utmost. It's blood and sweat to make this church known. It's not just say, well, God's in control of everything, God do it. God already did. He already forgave. He already put the word Messiah in. Now he's saying, believe it and do it. Can I count on you? Yes? No? No, 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 no. How about you guys in New Jersey and Florida? Maybe I can hear you. How about Hawaii? Yeah. Culver City. Yeah, there's people in Culver City today. There's people all over today. All right. So with that, I like to prepare. Let's prepare this place to receive even more people. Thank you so much. May all honor, may all glory be returned to God always.